Uh, Mr. Henriquez?
I'm I'm here, neighbor.
Well. How are your friends over by YouTube? They're treating you okay?
Well, I've been on and off, had some technical difficulties, which seems to be
Yes.
resolved now.
Yes.
So
Okay. So
it's not
you
much.
you you were telling us about the process of NaRRA and why NaRRA is important and why Jamaica needs NaRRA and why the government had to form NaRRA and how NaRRA will function. Would you pick up that for me?
Sure, neighbor. So
Yes.
one of the major things people need to understand, the getting of this $6.7 billion package, right, neighbor,
Yes,
is
sir.
not one that we were ever going to get. And I stand on this wholeheartedly. Without the tabling of NaRRA, without the potential tabling, because at the time it wasn't fully formed, but without the conception of it, we wouldn't have gotten that package, right?
Yes.
And people need to understand why. And earlier I would have spoken to the giving the confidence to investors, letting them know there's accountability, transparency, and targeted investment because this
Yes.
is not money that is there for freelance. You can't just go see money and use it. It has to serve a specific purpose, and every red cent, right? We always hear what Granny say, red cent and so on. Every
Yeah. So
cent
so so part of the accountability system is built into the loan by the lender.
by the lender, right? Because they have to not just see a level of return, neighbor. They want to ensure that they see the monies go to the projects, go to the infrastructure that it is deemed to go to. It is not like back then when we hear cost overrun on some projects and projects never yet done, right? This one is targeted, and NaRRA is the framework that allows this money to operate in a surgical manner. So we're not looking for things to go to waste because it's not money that is luxury. Everything has to be strategically placed and it has to be providing a level of return, whether that is financially, whether that is for the local people, development wise, and also infrastructure and so on. Everything has to give a different level of return for the country, for the people, and also for the investors. Now, the thing about NARA, neighbor, and this is what the opposition needs to understand, and the people of Jamaica needs to also understand, starting with what the people need to understand, neighbor, before I go to
Yes.
the opposition. If the opposition continues to fight NARA, what this means is that the opposition is fighting the people of Jamaica and their recovery. That is how serious this is. Without NARA, this money cannot be utilized
And the
because
money is not in the government's budget.
it goes to no in terms of the anything with government, it doesn't go. NARA is the sole spearheading, right? It has its own body that it answers to, which has independent people. I believe they would have selected the head personnel by now, and that was put out for people to apply to. So this is not cronyism and nepotism set up. This is something Jamaica has never seen before. And I know people will have pushbacks against it because with change, people naturally don't like change, neighbor. But understand this, it is one in which challenges every single Jamaican, both personally and also how they want to help Jamaica build better, not a build back situation, right? Now, why I say that is with whatever services that are required to help build back Jamaica, the people of Jamaica have to ensure that they equip themselves to take advantage of the many opportunities that will be coming, right? Opportunities will be, Jamaica will never see opportunities like this probably again until another lifetime in this short time frame. So it challenges everyone who don't understand. It challenges people to change how they will operate, how they work, and to take every single opportunity that comes their way. This is a time for Jamaicans to come together, make money from this project while building back their very communities and cities and doing it better, because now we have an overseeing body that will ensure that this is done. Why I say the opposition is against the people of Jamaica if they continue to fight NaRRA, neighbor, is that there has never been any framework in Jamaica's history that has been able to fast track any project of this magnitude. None. And if you stand in the way of that, you stand in the way of the people's advancement, the people's recovery. If we think the opposition stood in the way of the Western Jamaica getting back a light with the JPS thing, that is baby compared to if they tried to stop NaRRA. Because NaRRA is the holistic movement of Jamaica. They will always say we're third world. This is, when done right, it's that project that will push Jamaica to what we can then classify it as first world status, because that is how much development will come, and why this framework is needed as well, neighbor. Where the world is going, Jamaica needs to get there and get there very quickly. So we need to ensure the bandwidth is there, right? We need to ensure that the communication lines are better than before. We also have to ensure that whatever infrastructure we put in place can withstand another minimum category 5, and to do so over several decades, because this is not a little bit a project thing. We're going to have people, engineers right around the world on these projects, spearheading it, ensure Jamaicans do what is right for themselves. And if the opposition continues to try and fight this, neighbor, people need to understand that, listen, this is the opposition saying to every mason, every carpenter, every worker, right, every skilled individual in Jamaica, this is technically the opposition trying to stop bread out of your plate, right? This is the opposition slowing down your recovery without having any alternative put forward, right? The opposition have never seen something like this either, right? And their first instinct is to stop it. When you don't understand something, this opposition don't try to learn about it, neighbor. And you'd have heard me said months ago where NaRRA came from. The 3 major catastrophes that were studied, and they utilized the recovery framework from each disasters, and we put it together to form this. And this attracted the biggest investment to any small nation anywhere in the history, right? People can go and check that if they want to. No other country of this magnitude has ever been able to attract. We never run go borrow it, you know. We attracted it through our fiscal discipline of a decade and counting, through the changes of whatever framework we already had, to now be able to plug in NaRRA to improve those frameworks, and also to ensure that it has sustainability and it can drive Jamaicans. In fact, NaRRA will be optional after 5 years. It can be renewed. So it is not one that is indefinite. And Jamaican people, as it goes along, neighbor, they'll be able to appreciate for what it not will do. But when them start to the brick and mortar, because I understand that people want to see something tangible at times. They say seeing is believing. But sometimes what we have now is hope. And we've seen this administration have been changing frameworks, have been removing things, have been correcting decades of mismanagement. And I don't think this is a time where you'll expect them to blunder on the biggest legacy in any Jamaica Labour Party administration ever. Because when this is done right, we can forget about Andrew worrying about his legacy. This is going to be a Jamaican advancement legacy, one in which other countries will come and study it. Because this, the people need to understand, is that the world is watching, and NaRRA is not just allowing the world to watch. NaRRA is also protecting us and giving us another level, a stepping stone for people to take Jamaica serious again. If they think what happened in the 70s and 80s, Jamaica was a thing, neighbor, this is where we're going to step into a different era that the world has never seen Jamaica in.
Yeah. What are some of the projects that NaRRA will be responsible for?
Well, the major one, neighbor, is the one for the private sector, to give businesses of very varying sizes, small, medium enterprises, larger ones. The major ones, though, is anything 50 million and over. So this would have to do with capital injection for businesses that will be a part of the recovery, whether that is like construction, communication lines. Energy will also be part of it. I am still waiting to see how we will channel that. Roadworks.
Yes.
Major. When we talk about communication lines, bandwidth and road, in fact, roadworks allow us to have the bandwidth, and I'll explain that to persons.
Okay.
You can't have proper internet connection if you don't have a road, because nobody can go anywhere to put up these towers. So what it does now, when you look at roadways, neighbor, this unlocks. Example, taken from the budget that the Prime Minister read, opening up lands in Hanover that are inaccessible to create homes, because you need the roads to open up these lands, right? You need ease of access so they can open up additional resources, spaces. The opposition run on about, there's shortages and so on when it comes down to houses. NaRRA will fast track that because you need the level of infrastructure to do so. And there's no other framework ever in Jamaica that can fast track that can allow it to deliver within the next 2 to 3 years, minimum 10,000 houses, right? This is one of the major things. When you look at, moving cities, case in point, Black River,
Yes.
opening up investments on the coast instead of having houses on the coast. When you're opening up these level of investment, not necessarily to overseas people, but also locals, right? Giving them a new way and protection of their very businesses that were there. Letting them build back in a stronger manner, better infrastructure. Businesses that maybe who have needed capital injection can do so, right? They will also go through the DBJ when it comes to Development Bank of Jamaica, to get these loans and so on, to advance businesses. There will be birth of businesses because of NaRRA's framework, neighbor. For people, a lot of opportunities will be open up for entrepreneurs. People there with great ideas that couldn't act on it will now get opportunity. And this will be done in a way that it also protects not just the financial economy, but also the ecosystem in these areas that were devastated, right? It is not just one in which we will see us putting up homes and other infrastructures. It is one that will match the highest standard, global standards. Because understand this, building back for a category 5 neighbor.
Yes.
Even first world countries can't take a category 5. Had Melissa pass us and go to US, I'll know them probably still try to get water out of certain places, right?
Yes.
And we were able to circumvent that and looking now to recover in a manner where we're opening up investment, we're opening up businesses for the coast to expose the world to a different type of custodian. This will open up the southern coast more for more local investment, and they can take advantage of tourism products and packages that they will offer to the world, right? This is going to ensure that people can earn different ways. When I talk about arts and craft, which is unappreciated, by the way, when it comes down to Jamaica, right? We don't get half as much as other countries in this department. And Jamaica is known for its craft, right? It's going to open up these things. The fishermen.
When you're going through the Island Bamboo there, sir, you see some men with some towel hangers up there. That's
definitely, neighbor. Right? When you look at, housing infrastructures coming inward and being fully protected, right? Doing so withstand category 5 winds. Remember, neighbor, when I speak on category 5 winds and housing, Westmoreland barely have any housing infrastructure. It's not me beating people who's in the West, right? But I'll stand by what I say, and how people take it, they're willing to take it. But from what we've seen, very few housing structure could have withstand that hurricane. And now it being the minimum, It simply means that whatever infrastructure is put there should be withstanding that, which means the persons who have them like a business, it now go blow when liquor breeze come again. It now go wash away because it's more inward, right? And they can also ensure that they don't have to keep on worrying about where they're going to get the next money from if the business mash up, if the place blow down, because you would have built building at a higher standard to last longer. So you see that every hurricane season come, you start for it, that worry is gone. Not fully, because anything can happen, it's nature, but you can be at more ease. When you look at livelihoods happening, for agriculture will get a boost. No, right? You will start to see different things coming into play. But NaRRA is the drive. NaRRA is the factor, is the framework that will enable all of these things. So when the opposition attack, people need to understand this. That is what the opposition is trying to stop for you. If they are, and they won't be successful, but let me play the devil's advocate. If they are successful in doing this, right? This is what it is stopping for the people, all who vote for them in the West. This is what they're stopping. They're stopping new opportunities that you never dreamt of seeing in this short term. They are stopping your livelihood, not your survival, but your advancement, right? Your self-independence, your interdependence on a system, and independence of a member of parliament, of a party. This is putting you now to trust the system and framework, as opposed to you have to go trust a one man or who you know or try or wait to get a team. This is opening up you to now take these opportunities, build better, advance yourself, be a driving force, and be a force to reckon with economically. You can now contribute even greater. Right? This is a period in Jamaica's history where we have to get right. And I always say, you have to be very decisive with these things. Sometimes you have to be so steadfast, neighbor, locked in, be focused, shut out the noise. And right now, the opposition is all noise. They're all bark and no bite, no substance. They are trying to divide in order to conquer. But don't think it is dividing the government. They're trying to divide the very people that they should be leading. And if you divide the people for something away from something that they need, this is not a want. You think 56% of our GDP wiped out just as magically come up? That never happens. And this is something that we're fast tracking in a manner where nobody in the region, no country of this size has been able to do it in the short term, and we're able to protect it while doing so, right? You know, look here, say, this man get money and you know see the work. No, this is being sought and being done by a overarching body, one that will give you any information you need, and the confidence again in a system. Maybe you see when people can trust a system, they don't need an individual because the system works. And in order for this system to show the people it works, they have to buy into it and not buy into an opposition. Because if we haven't seen from September 3 to now, they're still campaigning. Every single thing the opposition has done is to try and stop the people from getting back water, getting back light, from getting the help they need, and they've offered nothing in return, right? Then that's not a relationship you want to foster. This is a system that has nothing to gain from the individual. It's a system being built for the individual through its government that they will keep, that they can add to, and that will protect them. Jamaica is moving into a new age that is leaving the opposition behind. And this is why we hear the rest of the world say Jamaica is, forward thinking. And individuals, Jamaicans, locally, regionally, and overseas in the diaspora, you have to fall in line with that advanced thinking. This is where you challenge yourself to adapt and adopt the changes that will come with NaRRA. because that is how you evolve as an individual and evolve as a people to get your true independence and not tied to who you're going to vote for after 4 or 5 years.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Harry.